Good morning again. Carl Mitchell here. This video is in response to a YouTube video I saw concerning Mr. Alan Keyes and now President Barack Obama. And the question was about gay marriage. And I 100% agree with Mr. Keyes. It doesn't matter if a woman can or cannot have a child. Her purpose for having a uterus, her purpose for having eggs is for a male sperm to fertilize those eggs and they have a baby. A man can never have a baby. Ever. When two men have sex, one is going to ejaculate into or onto the other man. But that sperm was not meant. What's the purpose of having the sperm if it has no purpose? I mean, come on, let's just think naturally speaking. What's the purpose of having the sperm if it has no purpose? If you were born with sperm, that means that sperm has a purpose. You wasn't born gay, because if you were, you would have no sperm. Or you would have no penis. A penis is shaped to go into a vagina. Not a butthole, a vagina. It doesn't matter what we pervert the use for. It was meant to go into a vagina. That's just like you take a car and use it to run people down. Just because you do that, that doesn't mean that that's what that car was made for. You take a knife and stick it in somebody. Just because people kill people with knives, that doesn't mean that's what a knife was made for. And just because a man takes his penis and puts it inside of another man, or a woman takes her lips and tongue and put it sexually on another woman, that's not what it was made for. Sperm was made for the purpose of reproduction. Two men can't reproduce. Now you can't, I don't care how much argument you come up with, and I'm not interested in the animal kingdom. I'm talking about with a man and a woman. A human male and a human female. A female has a vagina and a uterus and all that to receive sperm. Yeah, we do oral sex and all that, but that's not the purpose of the reproductive organ. The reproductive organ is for the purpose of reproducing. That's just natural. That's nature. Period. You're not going to tell me that you were born with male or female. You were born male, but that was a mistake. You were born gay. That doesn't make sense when you look at it strictly from the point of view of what your organs and what your body was made for. A man was not made with a uterus. He was not made with a vagina. I don't care how many sex change operations a man has, he's still a man, and he cannot have a baby. Ever. Care how many sex change operations a woman has, she will never be able to impregnate another woman. Never. Doesn't work that way. So you can change the use of your body and your mind for whatever you want to change it for, but that doesn't mean that's what it was naturally created for. I mean, think about it. What is the uterus created for? Why were you born with the uterus if it wasn't for the purpose of receiving sperm in it? That makes sense. Why would a man, whether you could have a baby or not, whether everything is working or not, if you've got that in you, that means it was made for a man to put something in you. Men, why would you have sperm? What? Let me ask you something. If you were born gay, somebody is stupid. Either you or God. Either you or the or who created you. And I say it was God. Either God is stupid or you're stupid. Why would he give you that which you are supposed to use with a woman in a sexual way, but it's natural for you to want a man? let's take seeds for planting, for a pear seed or tomato seed or whatever. Now you could take some seeds and eat them, but what is that going? Was that the purpose for the seed being made? No, the purpose for a seed was to reproduce others like its own kind. A pear seed is made to produce other pears, not for the purpose of just eating. So a man's seed is made for the purpose. Its sole purpose for being created. Now, what we do with it, that's a different story. But what it was created for, what it was made for, is to procreate. Sperm wasn't made to be swallowed. It wasn't made to be put on your body or in your anus. It was made to be ejaculated into a woman to reproduce a child. Now, whether or not the woman's plumbing is right or not, that's not the argument. That's irrelevant. And even if you have birth defects to where you're a hermaphrodite or whatever, that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. All gay people aren't hermaphrodites, so all people. So let's not throw all these other factors that has nothing to do with it into the play. Let's not bring that into play. The fact of the matter is, women were created for men, and men were created for women. Period. A woman's breast. Why does she have breasts? I mean, you people, you gay people and you gay sympathizers, you want to make gayness, homosexuality, and lesbianism normal and natural, but it's not. No one was born there. If a woman was born with breasts, those breasts are for the purpose of suckling a baby. Yeah, we men enjoy them and we suckle on them, but that's not what they were made for. They were made to produce milk, and in turn, babies suckle that milk to survive, to be fed. That's what those breasts were made for. So just because we perverted the use of them or changed the use of them or get extra uses out of them, that does not excuse the main purpose or the reason why women were given breasts in the first place. You can't make homosexuality and lesbianism natural. You can't do it. Because you got to take sperm out of play. You got to take the uterus out of play and all that. And it doesn't matter if a woman was born with the uterus or not. That's a birth defect. All things being equal, women are born with uteruses and they are born with fallopian tubes and they are born with ovaries. Those ovaries are for the purpose of holding eggs that are for the purpose of being fertilized by a male's sperm. How do you get around that? How do you, in your twisted mind, how do you get around that? I don't care about what goes on in the animal world, something that you can't prove anyway. You're just going by something that some scientist said. But forget that. Let's deal with human beings and human beings only. And I don't subscribe to the garbage that humans are animals. No, I don't subscribe to that. I don't agree with that. Humans are not animals. Humans are humans. We're people. We're not animals. So, I mean, how can you... To me, it's so asinine, stupid, ridiculous, self-serving, and all of that to try to change your use just because your mind is sick. Just because your mind is deranged and degraded and your mind has flipped. Just because you don't know how to deal with those thoughts and deal with the burning of your flesh, that doesn't mean that that's natural. You're just weak. See, let me tell you something, homosexuals and homosexual sympathizers and lesbian sympathizers and lesbians. You do what you do by choice. If you're sleeping with someone of the same sex, you chose that. Don't tell me you've been like that since you was a kid. You chose that. Okay? Why is it that, and I'm making this point because to me, it's deviant behavior. It's unacceptable behavior. It's twisted and sick behavior. That's my take on homosexuality, lesbianism. So in that vein, why is it that we don't ever say that people were born child molesters? People were born murderers. People were born rapists. If you talk to a serial killer, he'll tell you the same thing a homosexual or lesbian will tell you. Just had an urge, it was just there, and there was nothing they could do. They couldn't fight it. A child molester will tell you the same thing. A rapist will tell you the same thing. So we dismiss what they say, and not just one or two of them say it. A whole bunch of them say that. So we'll dismiss what they say because we consider that deviant, but we will completely embrace what a homosexual or a lesbian will say, even though that's deviant. Come on now. Come on now. Alan Keyes is right. Just because you have a worm in an apple, that doesn't mean that that apple was not made to be eaten. The worm in the apple has no bearing on the validity of the fact that that's an apple. You can't change that. And I don't care what you say. An apple is an apple is an apple. A man is a... You know, it's funny how people will say that they were born in the wrong body or whatever foolishness, but it's so funny to me. When you go to a car factory, and again, I believe God made us. I believe there is a God, and I believe he made man. It's funny how we will say that God made mistakes. You born male, but you're supposed to be female, so you're attracted to men. God made a mistake. It's funny how on the assembly lines of different car manufacturers, if they build 2 or 3 different vehicles there, it's funny how they don't, like for instance, if they build a Chevrolet Corvette in a factory, and they also build the Cadillac sports car. It's funny how they don't get those parts mixed up, and they don't put the name of the Corvette on the Cadillac sports car, and they don't put the name of the Cadillac sports car on the Chevy, on the Corvette. Men don't make those mistakes, but God does. Now come on. Come on. Come on. In the M&M factory, I've never gotten a pack of peanut M&Ms and opened it, and it was just the chocolate M&Ms, non-peanut M&Ms. And I've never opened the chocolate M&Ms and got peanut M&Ms in the pack. It's funny how we humans don't make those mistakes, but we attribute God to fallacy and folly and mistakes and foolishness. Come on, people. That's stupid. God didn't make those mistakes. The mistakes are in human beings. Maybe it's in the chemicals the parent ate or something. Maybe it's chemically induced or whatever. But I'm not going to ever accept, and no one out there can prove to me that a person was born gay. You can't prove that. You never will be able to prove that. Ever. You will never be able to prove that homosexuality and lesbianism is natural. You'll never be able to prove that, ever. No matter what some scientists say, I don't care about that. Scientists are stupid too. So, Mr. Keyes, I agree with you. I applaud you. Thank you for standing up for the truth. And I stand behind you 1,000,000%.